We're going to talk about thermal using our Incendus and our up and coming Incendus Pro, and night vision using our TR1, Noctis V1, and the Omnis. It's a bad mother. You know, the big question is, what's the difference between thermal and night vision, right? It's actually very simple. Very simple explanation. Thermal is looking at heat differences using a core, right? So this one is a 384 core. Now there's more details and more specs and all that stuff, but very simply, this is a 384 core. There's something called a Johnson criteria. The thermal at Johnson criteria of our Incendus is 800 yards, 400. That means it can detect a heat up to 800 and identify at 400, right? That's a 384 core. Now, that's the base core. They actually see a lot farther than that, but another video for another time. The Incendus Pro, the new one that's coming out, is a 640 core. So right, just under double the core resolution, but it can actually, its Johnson criteria is 2,000, 1,000. So it can detect something at 2,000 yards and identify something at 1,000. Now, this is using a thermal core, which is one of this weird, you have this weird glass, kind of crazy looking thing on the front of it. It's just a really, it's just a thermal, it's a germanium lens core that is looking at heat differences way down yonder. Yonder way out there. Now, infrared night vision, the difference over here, the V1, the one that brought us to the dance, the first thing here, right? The TR1, our traditional looking night vision, the same one that we're coming up with, that we just came out with, and then the Omnis, which has been the Bob Ross, the happy little game changer, the spotting soap that can see to your soul. It's way out there. Well, the difference between this, and this is that this uses infrared light, right? It comes with ours, little wee bitty fart there. You can see 100 yards width. When you go to Sniper Hog Lights, this is their 50. You can see 500-600 yards really well. And you bring out the meat hammer, the Coyote Cannon, you can see 1,000+ yards with this, right? And they've got other ones they're coming up with, you can see forever. But that's the biggest difference, right? Is that this, the infrared night vision, our infrared night vision, and most of your other ones are, the other competition out there, has to have an infrared light, some type of other light source to gather your image. So what it's doing is actually has an infrared sensor, infrared lenses, so you can gather infrared light, right? You can use lights downrange, lights mounted to your weapon system, or if it's in this situation, to your spotting scope system. You can mount those lights however you need to. But you do have to have an external light source. Now here's the difference. With a thermal, if something's hidden and you don't know what's out there, this thermal is going to let you know, right? There's heat trackers, all kinds of things. You can see everything, every little squirrel, every little chipmunk, every little anything. But now your depth perception is off a little bit, right? So it's actually really good to spot, so you can see things that you didn't know were there. That's why a lot of people use thermals for spotting, because it gives you heat signatures and bright spots to say, hey, there's something there that you can't see with your naked eye. And with the infrared, you can't do that, right? Because you're looking at the same thing you're going to be looking at if you're looking at daylight. So you're going to be looking at images, or so if you have an animal in a field, if he's bedded down between brush and he's blended in because he kind of camouflaged in, you're not going to see him. With a thermal, that heat signature is going to pop, and you can say, hey, that's right there. Now here's the difference. These are usually about double the price, right? If you have a choice between thermal and infrared, most of the time you're going to go thermal. But you have depth perception with infrared you don't have with thermal. So you go back and forth on which one's different, right? Which one's better? Thermal, heat, images, see it, pops out, peekaboo. Infrared, it's going to be like shooting or hunting or spotting with a spotlight, except for the animals or the whatever you're looking at cannot see the light, right? That's the biggest difference. I mean, that's the best way of saying it. Spotlight that's invisible to everything but you, nothing's invisible to you. It's the long and short of it. There's also nods, which the NVDs, and they're the tubes, and Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, yada yada. We don't have those yet, so no reason to talk about them, but there's a lot of benefits and also cons, pros and cons to that as well. That's the long and short of it. You got more questions? Please put them in the comments. We love talking with you. Any questions you have, you can find us at Accufire Tech.